Hello and welcome to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
And we are here on a almost spring-like day.
My God, it was gorgeous today.
It was gorgeous today in Kansas City. Hopefully it's gorgeous wherever you are. But for the first time in a while, I feel like we are coming out of the goddamn bitter cold that has been our month. Speaking of which, hell freezing over and being just in bitter cold hell. How long has it been?
How long has it been? Okay.
Yeah.
35 days.
Since 35 days. So we've hit a month. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. 616 still to go before midterms.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer to that under 600 number.
We are. Yeah.
We reached a milestone this week. We were just talking about it, that for the first time, we actually had a dislike on one of our videos.
Yes. Thumbs down.
We got a thumbs down. We assume it's not our hairstyle.
And don't give a fuck if it is. Because if that's your thumbs downing, it's not changing.
That someone did not like the video.
Giddy about it. I wish we knew.
I wish we knew.
Why?
But if you don't like our video, we would love a comment just to find out.
Yeah.
And if it is our hair, we won't flame you. Otherwise, who knows? But yes, that was kind of a big deal this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it that we have a thumbs down.
I know, that was quite fun. This week has been quite the whirlwind week. Once again, the shit show continues.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, Sunday night, I'm going through my emails, getting ready for work this week, trying to get caught up. And I hear the story about the email that came out over the weekend to federal employees. What did you do last week? Name 5 things that you did last week. And you had to respond, or they were going to consider it your resignation.
Yes.
What the actual fuck? Can you imagine? So the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, has this new magical HR email address that this came from. But then the OPM came out and said that it was voluntary. So
because people are so pissed about it. Yeah.
And it's all confusing. And now there's not federal employees don't know what they're supposed to be like. What
and
a
Trump
shit
is saying,
show.
Yeah. And all of the Pam Bondis, the Tulsis, the Kash Patels, they're all saying do not respond. Do not, right? Because now their dicks have been stepped on. Yeah. Because Elon is overstepping what they consider their boundaries with their new departments, with their employees. And Musk is not he wasn't prepared for that kind of pushback. And then Trump said from the Oval today, no, you'll be fired.
Yeah.
He doubled down on it.
Yeah. And I cannot believe how confusing the work life has to be if you work in the federal government. What a terrible fucking way to live.
Yeah.
I have to believe this is how Elon took over Twitter as well, right?
Just mass chaos.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Trying to force people to get out as quickly as they could. To your point, even, Kash Patel and Pam Bondis of the world have worked in environments where you don't just start emailing your employees and say, what did you do last week? That's just insane, right?
Yeah, give us 5 bullet points of what you got accomplished, but don't send us anything classified.
Yeah.
Well, bitch, I work for the CIA. Everything I do is classified. What do you mean? Then I can't respond, so I'm fired? What the fuck?
Well, and what are you going to do with this?
Well, right.
Is someone actually going through and reading all of these to determine if a person is actually efficient or not efficient? So I saw a lot of websites that were ate a bunch of ketamine, sucked on some dicks, all sorts of shit. People were posting all sorts of crazy ass shit about how you should respond. Because I would be really interested on what, I don't know.
You can tell from 5 bullet points whether somebody is
getting their job done or not.
Use of their time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Depending on the week, I might be hard pressed to tell you 5, because I would feel like it needs to be 5 major bullet points, right?
100%. Me too.
You know
But
what
on
I
the other
mean? And I
hand,
would be like, well, I handheld a bunch of people today while I unapproved their timesheets because they can't seem to do that shit right.
right, exactly
Ever.
correct.
Like,
So, yes, to your point, I would have such a hard time with, I mean, I have my list. This is the shit I get done I have my
mm,
list. So
hmm
I marked stuff off last week. So yeah, I could put those on a list of these are the things that I got done. And I have
yeah,
here are my emails that I sent, but I also have a position where I do a lot of varied things. If I'm a
right,
reconciliation person, if I'm a finance person, I wrote checks or I paid bills or
right,
I completed
exactly.
my recons every day.
I
I
balanced a general
investigated a bunch
ledger.
of cases. At the end
Yeah,
of the day, what the hell? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And so I definitely, what's interesting to me is the one thing that I could see where what did you do last week could impact greatly would be middle management. So
hmm
I'm curious, is that what Elon Musk is really going for? Or those middle managers that are just there to kind of make sure people are getting done what they're getting done, have daily one-on-one or weekly one-on-ones with people to get their list of shit and then offer direction where needed. Otherwise, is that who he's what is the
I
point
don't
of
know.
this?
I don't know, federal employees today filed an updated lawsuit arguing that Musk had violated the law with his demand that federal employees explain their most recent accomplishments or risk getting fired. And
Yeah.
Trump from the Oval today, while meeting with Emmanuel Macron, said, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people aren't answering because they don't exist. He
Yeah.
went on to say that Musk has found hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud and suggested that federal paychecks are going to non-existent employees, although he provided zero evidence. First of
Well,
all, hundreds of billions
and
in
this is the
fraudulent
same thing.
paychecks.
That's right. It's the same message of, oh, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are voting that are
And getting social
illegals
security
or
checks that have been dead for 150
that's
years.
right. Like, like
That's literally not happening.
that's right. That's exactly right. In fact, that claim about people that are dead, there was a response that was sent by a funeral home that was like, you realize that as soon as someone dies and your mortician gets notified of that death, they're filing paperwork with the Social Security Department to label
Yeah.
those people as dead. I know this from my job, because we have accounts that sit there. And so we're on the
Mm.
list that gets a copy of the list from the Social Security company, the Social Security Department that says these are all the dead people, and so I know this exists. I know this is something that we get notified of. We're the ones that then if we're starting to get other, ACHs that come in, we're returning them, whatever. And so I know that's the case. And so
Yeah.
to your point, the fact that there are we know you're lying.
You're literally lying.
Anyone that would believe this is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You
And
know what I'm saying?
he's not finding hundreds of billions of dollars in fraudulent
No,
federal paychecks.
no,
That's literally not a thing that's happening.
no, you're lying. We know you're lying.
Yeah. You're
What
just
really
blatantly
pisses me
lying.
off. Yes. And what pisses me off is I guess DOGE, all of their paperwork is listed under the office of the
Big
president.
balls.
Big balls. No, it's listed under the office of the president. So it's all classified and it's not available under Freedom of Information Act. So even though there's hundreds of requests daily pouring in on freedom
They
of
literally never
information,
have to prove any of it
it
through a
is
FOIA
protected for the
request.
next 10 years because it's under Trump, because he's listed under Trump.
Oh my God.
Isn't that
I didn't
bullshit?
know
So,
that. Yeah.
they're posting all the shit on X,
Uh-huh.
and it's because they're calling it the wall of receipts of all this stuff that supposedly they're making, finding in dollars. And, a great example is they posted an $80 billion contract, right? That they had
Yeah.
found. Come to find
Uh-huh.
out it's 80 million. Well, now
Yeah.
there's this dispute because they counted it as part of their savings, but everyone's like, that contract wasn't $80 billion. It was $80 million. And now they're saying, well, the guy that insert the contract typed it. So when they got it right, we were able to update our records, but we've been saying $80 million all along. No, you haven't. You're
Oh
lying.
my, you're literally lying. Yeah.
I just, and there's no way for us to like verify this
Right. Because
because
he can't do it for you.
that's right. That's right. So there's no way to make sure that this is getting monitored. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely fucking infuriating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the email to federal employees was one fun DOGE thing.
Yeah.
The other one that I had to tell you about,
Oh God.
DOGE dividends.
Oh, I've not heard of this.
DOGE dividends. So, okay. First of all, let's all do a little rejoicing. Current approval rating for
Oh, yes.
Trump
What
and
is it?
DOGE
Yeah.
is pretty bad. So right now there was an IPSOS poll that showed a 13-point decline in his approval rating. The latest Gallup poll shows a 5-point decline in his approval rating. And CNN did a larger SSRS or SRS, anyway, poll that shows a 52% disapproval rating for the president. And it shows 62% of people don't believe he's done enough to lower prices, which shocking. Like, I'm so
Okay, but
surprised.
I feel like what did I say? 35 days in? That like that's bad. Like
Yeah.
most presidents
Yes.
have a honeymoon phase, especially when it's not your first. I mean, this is technically his second presidency, but because there was a gap there, like most presidents have a honeymoon phase. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, ma'am. So to have it like
This is
go that
amazing.
bad this quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I agree. It's bad. So as a way to increase popularity, the latest thing that DOGE has come up with is that they want to give back, or there's talk about giving back 20% of the savings that they find to average Americans.
Well, then you would
So,
have to actually be honest about how much savings you're finding, and you're not finding any.
well, so this is the thing. Like, I don't know. So, a lot of the claims that Trump makes are things that aren't tactile. Like, there's nothing we
Mm-hmm.
can touch to say whether or
Mm-hmm.
not, yes. Like, he makes comments about they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs.
Right.
People can say, I've heard nothing about eating cats or dogs. That's totally made up. City officials can say it 10 billion times over.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I can't point to something, right? Like, there's nothing I
Mm-hmm.
can point to be like, okay, look at how stupid you are. But a budget is a budget is a budget. Like, if you
Yep.
only have this much dollars, like, that's all you have. So
Yes.
does Elon realize that if he says, hey, I found 70 trillion or 20 trillion, whatever it is, in savings, his budget has to reflect, like, the budget has to reflect those savings.
Yeah.
And if he wants to send money back to Americans, if the budget is at however many trillions of dollars and now it's reduced by this amount, okay, now there might be some savings to like send money to people. But like, I mean, money, like, dollars don't lie, right?
Right. I mean, like so what they're saying is that all of this waste and fraud that they're going to uncover, they're going to then bring it back to the American people. They're going to send us all stimulus checks because this president did not, he only wanted to send out stimulus checks if he got to put his signature on it.
That's
And
right.
then he didn't want to continue to send them when we were in the middle of a global fucking pandemic and people couldn't work and were losing their jobs because of it. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? So I have a hard time believing that even if him and his tech bros were in here just really rooting out all the fraud and finding all this hidden money, that they would ever pass it back to the American people.
Well, because here's my thing. Don't get me wrong. I believe that there's probably some things that they are finding. Like, one of the things that they posted today, it was about how while certain companies only have, say, 13,000 employees, maybe they own like 50,000 software licenses. Those kinds, I believe that there's likely that there's some of that, right? We know there's governmental waste. In every
Oh, well,
company,
yeah.
there's waste. In
Yes.
my company, there's waste. And
Yeah.
I literally run the team that does this type of activity, looking for waste. This year alone, this has been one of my primary focuses is like, okay, where's the waste? Where can we like get rid of this waste? And my team alone has already found $1 million in waste for just my company. So I'm sure that they have. But the fact is like at this point, they have claimed what, $55 million of reduced governmental waste. 75% of it is unaccounted for. 75% of it you can't see on paper anywhere where that's coming from.
They can't show you yeah.
That's right. And this is where I'm like, okay, so like there's a budget with a number and there are numbers associated with those budgets. Like if you're going to get rid of this, it means that you actually have to show it in a budget somewhere. And so I'm like, what are they going to do? Are they going to fake budgetary documents? Are they right? Like how
is this why we're firing all these federal employees? Because look at all the money we're saving on payroll.
I think all of the money is going to come from payroll. It's going to all come from firing employees and not like hiring contractors and blah, blah, blah. But what's really crazy to me is that like Elon Musk could pay this DOGE dividend himself.
Oh, sure.
So is that what they're going to do? Like, are we going to have some fucking wackadoodle scenario where DOGE decides that they can't, whatever. And so they're going to use a like Musk contract to hide money that Elon injects to give it back to the taxpayers. If that happens, I'm not going to be sad. I'm not going to be sad. Because to your point, like, but if he does that, whose name is going to show on the check?
And we're all going to have to pay him back. Because he's not going to just...
We do anyway.
Yeah.
We do anyway by giving him like millions and billions of dollars in tax cuts, right?
And in federal contracts, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And in federal contracts, we do it anyway. So yeah, 20% of the savings are going to go back to Americans. I'm curious how this is going to happen. I'm really like, this is something I'm going to be watching. If only because I'll be watching it to find out like how are they going to manufacture this on paper? Because it has to, like, they're going to have to do something, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those batshit crazy things.
Oh yeah. I have no idea.
I know. Who knows? Okay. So on to some other items on our list.
Yeah.
Okay. So you brought up the recent deputy director that has been tapped for the FBI. Don Bongino.
Yes.
Famous podcaster.
Far-right conspiracy theory. Oh, but he's given it up, and gladly so, is what Trump said when he made his announcement.
You know, at the end of the day, would I give up being a, podcaster for a huge contract and job at the FBI? I'm curious, like, how is this going to go? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the rank and file, according to what I was watching tonight, I don't know why my eye is watering so much. I swear to God. Like, all I've done is rub this stupid eye the whole time we've been podcasting. So sorry. What I was watching tonight, they were saying that some of the rank and file within the FBI are very unhappy because that position is supposed to be a career FBI official because they're the ones that handle most of the day-to-day stuff. Hegseth doesn't handle the day-to-day stuff. At his level, that's not what he's doing, which is why the second in command is supposed to be a career. It's an Andrew McCabe. Like, it's supposed to be a career FBI official. But good news, this guy was in the Secret Service for 12 years. He worked for NYPD for a couple of years. Like, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine.
And he loves to peddle conspiracy theories. Right. And so that's the biggest plus we could ever ask for at the FBI.
So it's insane, right? Because I read the exact same, probably the same article you did, that like, this is the guy that is like running day-to-day operations. He's the one that's like giving a lot of the orders. He's the one that's like meeting with the department heads. Like, he's the one that is controlling day-to-day what is happening. It's
supposed to be like the North Star of like, this is how we lead. This is how we conduct ourselves. This is how we, all the things. This is why we're the FBI.
Do you think that he will get into his office use that office to research all the things that he believes and like get some enlightenment, do you think? You know what
God,
I'm saying?
I could only hope so. But I think that he'll probably be like looking for hidden papers from J. Edgar and be like,
So so
who really
here's
killed
my
Kennedy? Like that's what's gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
so here's my fear is that the real reason why they've brought him in is to cover up Trump, Putin,
oh sure,
right?
yeah,
Because
and
now there will
Hegseth's
be
drinking.
that's right. Well, there will be no more review of like Russian
Mm-mm.
tampering with elections. There'll be
Mm-hmm.
no more consideration on like Putin and nefarious activities. Like that's
Yep.
my assumption is that really that's why we are changing the guard to be 100% loyalists who, and it really shocks me, but I guess it shouldn't. I don't believe these people are all part of a cult because they think that like they really believe in Trump and what he says in the message. It's all right because they know that if they just keep towing the party line that they get to keep their jobs and they get these like high ranking official positions and right like it just shocks me the number of corrupt motherfuckers that are willing to sell their soul, right? That's
Well,
what it
yeah.
feels
I
like to
mean,
me.
it's 100%. I mean, it's proximity to power,
Yeah.
and again, I feel like I do this every episode. It was the same way with Hitler. Hitler's generals tried to fucking kill him,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't succeed, and so there you have it. But like, so there will always be a potential bigger psychopath in the orbit of Trump, but as long as they can manipulate him to get what they need and what they want out of his presidency or the administration or whatever, they're all playing each other. It's this fucking chess game of like, how far can I ride this to get what I need out of it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yes. Again, I always assume people are better
than
than,
they are.
yes. I just am shocked at the number of people, especially that are just willing to sell their fucking soul for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It just shocks me.
Yeah.
And the number of people that
Including our
then
sitting senators and congressmen.
exactly. And I'm curious. Anyway, you're right. I go down this rabbit hole. I think every time I think about it, and I think this is what is so deeply painful for a lot of us is the fact that I operate day to day with the assumption that in general people are good, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe that people in general are good, that they want to do the right thing. I believe that the people that voted for Donald Trump aren't just like raging racists that are just getting hired to kill all the black people. I think they're fine with that if it happens, obviously, because they clearly are fine with racist comments and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I don't think that like they're inherently bad people. I think that they, again, and I think we talked about this last time, are just wanting to burn the whole fucking thing down and start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
What they're not realizing is obviously that's not the case. We're not burning it down and starting from scratch. We are removing the checks and balances that were there and then inserting who we want to in an effort to try and like make it as Republican and as powerful as possible. But the fact that so many sitting senators and Congress people and then just people in general are willing to sell their soul because they know what's happening. They
Mm-hmm.
see what's happening.
Yep.
And then they can dupe everyone else into believing whatever they want to is just astounding to me. And I think that's why this becomes so fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Speaking of generals killing their leader, monitors at the headquarters of the Department of Housing and Urban Development today briefly showed a fake video of Trump sucking the toes of Elon Musk with the words, "Long live the real king" on it. I do
I
not
cannot
hate this
imagine.
journey for us.
I do not. And I cannot imagine working at HUD and like, here I am at my desk. And then all of a sudden you go, bitch, look at that. And like, I look, because these TVs are like hanging from the ceiling. And it's just like, Oh. And then like I have time to get my phone and like take a video. Like
I
it was up there for I don't know how long, but it was up there for more than like 20 fucking seconds. It's
I
like
love this so much. I
this shit
love
was
it so
I don't
much.
know who did it, but you're a national fucking hero.
So this is what I'm wondering. Number one, do they know who did it? Number two, if they know who did it, do we not know because the story's so embarrassing to Trump that they won't like
Then
to
until
be
he can
perfectly
fire
honest,
somebody
yeah,
publicly, like he's not ready to
because
talk
I
about it.
heard about this on social media.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not hear about this on
Yeah. My cousin
any
sent it to me and was like, oh my
right.
God, look at this. Yeah.
Right. So it's clearly on social media. It is not being widely reported, we'll say. And so I'm like, I'm wondering if it's because it's so embarrassing to Trump that it's not being reported,
Yeah.
or if it's because like they don't know who did it and they're still investigating. I don't know, but I got to say, I love this
I
journey for us.
enjoy it. I enjoy it.
I hope it's true. I hope this isn't all fake news. So far, they haven't come out and said it's fake news. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I
but
hope it's
that was
true.
fucking crazy.
You dissent any way that you can.
Indeed. Which I have to say, I am definitely delighted that I am seeing as much dissent as I am seeing. Federal workers are now being forced to go back into offices. They said they thought maybe that was a motivation for the video popping up today of all days. Right. So
Interesting.
who knows? But yeah, I definitely enjoyed that for sure.
Yeah.
I also had heard a bit about Anonymous getting in the mix of DOGE and Elon. And so I'm
Oh.
putting a lot of like
Oh, that's
hope that we'll be
interesting.
able to talk about that in the next coming weeks,
Yeah.
that we're seeing more stuff getting released by Anonymous, because I'm curious if they can at least give us some insight in how some of these contracts are actually looking and how much some
Yeah.
of the savings actually is. Okay. Another big item that you had brought out was the firing of the Joint Chiefs of Staff,
Oh, yeah.
General CQ Brown.
Yeah.
So when did that happen?
Friday night.
And I heard that it was him, and there was the Navy chairman, because she was
Mm-hmm.
a woman. Both were
Mm-hmm.
fired.
Franchetti. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Franchetti was fired.
Yep.
We assume because they were both too woke, too
DEI.
DEI.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So, Hegseth stated on Fox News Sunday that firing the top military lawyers, because he also wants to fire all of the JAG Corps, was about making sure they don't exist to be roadblocks to anything that happens in the future.
Okay.
But yeah, CQ Brown, the reason for his termination is because of his public support for the Black Lives Matter movement after the police killing of George Floyd, making him a target for the wokeism that the administration says they are fighting.
Yeah, I love that we're fighting wokeism. I mean, that good job, guys. Way to
Right.
fire wokeism. I have to
Yeah.
say, so it was interesting on Facebook this week. We had a person who, someone that I adore and I work with, she posted something about if you are opposing DEI, you should be required to say diversity, inclusion, equity, and say what part of that do you actually not believe in.
Not agree with?
Yes, which I loved. Of course I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
One person posted, and of course they were flamed about, oh, really? Do you really want people being able to identify as a cat and requesting a special bathroom with a litter box? That was her response to DEI.
Why do they go fucking ham on shit? Like, you don't
I
even know
don't
what you're
know.
talking about. You're just adding shit in that doesn't even make any fucking sense because nobody's literally talking about that. None of that's literally happening. And if you work with a furry, that's fine.
Yeah. Can I ask, do you think every fucking Trump voter who is like, I hate the woke movement, that this is what they actually believe?
Oh, I think there's a large swath of them that do. Yeah.
Like
That's their gut reaction to it. Mm-hmm.
you have to be really stupid to
Mm-hmm.
believe that it's the same thing as like teachers are giving students sex change operations.
Right. Your child
Like,
goes to school, a boy, comes home a
comes home
girl.
a
Like,
girl. Who really, who believes this?
yeah.
You know? Ha-
Yeah.
I just, are there news outlets out there that are actually reporting stories
That this
like
is
this?
happening. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never, ever, ever heard of any stories like this. I feel like, company gets sued because person identifies as cat and is requesting litter box bathroom is
And gets
something that
told
my
no.
local news would at least have reported on.
Yes.
And this person says it
100%.
really, really happened at her business. So
Yes.
like, I'm really sure that someone would have reported that fucking out, or at least I would have heard about it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Somewhere.
do people really, really, really
But
believe this is true?
I mean, Hegseth also stated in firing CQ Brown, he made a comment, this was prior to firing him, that the color of his skin was the reason why he was in the position he was in. I mean, we don't know that for sure is what he said, but how would we ever find out? Like, the idea also that DEI now means we're not hiring qualified people. We're just hiring the queers and black people and women, and that's
Right.
not happening either. We have lots of incompetent people in all kinds of positions in
Yes.
this country.
Right.
Most of them are white men because
Yes.
they've got the fucking audacity to walk into a job interview and be like, I've never done this job a day in my life. I can run the FBI.
Yeah.
No fucking problem. And we put
Right.
them in their fucking position. So like, that's not happening with DEI hires. That's just getting us to the fucking table. We still have to go above and beyond way harder than a white man does to potentially get the position. So this idea that they've flipped it now where DEI means we put all these incompetent people in their positions is fucking bullshit.
Well,
Is
and
fucking
on
bullshit.
that thread, this woman's getting like blasted.
Yeah.
Somebody else came on and was like, "Hey,
Cats' lives
real
matter
talk.
too.
Real talk. Like, do quotas like still exist? Like, are people intentionally being hired to fill specific quotas, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And here's my thing. I know at one time quotas did
Quotas
exist. Like,
exist. Mm-hmm.
that's right.
For
But
EEOC.
I've been hiring people for companies for years,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Years.
Mm-hmm.
And I never remember an HR person
Mm-mm.
coming to me and saying, "Hey, make sure you hire this person
No.
because we have a quota we
No.
need to hit."
Right. Well,
Right?
because your EEOC quota is based off your entire workforce.
Right.
So, and the reason for those EEOC quotas is to keep it from being all white folks and specifically white men. But the
Right.
quota is not like we have to have 51% black folks and
Well,
49%. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
well,
not
right.
what the
Well, to
quota
your
is.
point,
It's still minuscule.
so I just Googled it and it said that there's federal anti-discrimination laws that make quotas illegal.
Oh, interesting.
And so EEOC's policies prohibit discrimination and reverse discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
And the Supreme Court ruled that affirmative action programs are illegal if they use quotas or numerical goals. That's what I'm like. I've been hiring people for a billion
Mm-hmm.
years at this point because I'm an old fucking lady. And never once ever have I been like, hey, an HR person's come to me and been like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, you have two people." Like, I've sat down with just this last hiring. I had two people that I felt both were qualified in the position that we were hiring for. And it was a good contractor position, but still. And I was like, I went to my HR person and I was like, "Hey, both of these people are qualified. One is a white male and one is a Middle Eastern female."
Mm-hmm.
At no point was my HR person like, "Well,
Got to go with
hire
the
the
female.
female because that fills
Yeah.
our quotas." Never once.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't, DEI is not designed to like cause reverse discrimination, to
Right.
cause
But
white
that's what they
men to
all
be
say
right.
is that it's reverse discrimination. And you only hear that phrase from white folks
Fuck
because that's not a
yes.
thing that's also not a thing that exists.
No.
Reverse racism is not a thing that exists. This is something that white folks made up out of whole fucking cloth to
Yeah.
make themselves victims.
Right. And
because they
so,
aren't qualified for the job they want or whatever. You know what I
or
mean?
they got fired from a job for gross incompetence, and this is how they can
Yes.
justify their firing or
Yes.
justify the reason
Yes.
they didn't get a job or what have you.
Exactly. Oh, they got
Yeah,
passed
I
up for
agree.
a
And
promotion. Yeah.
right. But listening to this person literally equate like DEI initiatives as being, oh, yes, you have a person who identifies as a cat and needs a
Wants to
litter box
shit in a litter
bathroom.
box.
Yes, and wants to shit in a litter box at work. I can't even shit at work, period. Like that,
Right. No.
no, I
No.
come home to do that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
No.
So this idea of like somebody out there, like I feel like we would have heard this story, would have been on the
1,000%.
news.
And it's
Right.
so irrational. Like, I can't even have a conversation with you because literally everything you just said was insane.
Makes it so clear to me how stupid you are. Right.
Yes. And that you're
And
just being extreme for the sake of being extreme.
so here's my thing. I hate to say stupid because I I believe that we're all on a spectrum, right? Of what, but where it is, it's not stupid. It's gullible. It's gullible that you've heard this from somebody else in your life and you
Mm-hmm.
choose to believe it. And it's the story that you continue to spew of
And that you
saying
don't
like,
have any critical thinking skills that you're like,
that's
this
right.
shit
That you
sounds
can't critically
insane.
think of it yourself because you think you are critically thinking about it. Cause she posts, well, just because I had a thought none of you had. No, bitch. Cause she thinks that because she's taken
That she's
DEI
some kind
to
of
the furthest
genius.
possible level,
Yes.
which is somebody could identify as a shoe and request a shoebox to live in. Like none of the rest of us are smart enough to have that critical thinking.
Right.
That shows she's a critical thinker and we're not.
Right.
Where it's like, it's sort of like taste. Everyone thinks they have taste.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thinks they have a sense of humor, but we know
Yeah.
people, not everyone has a sense of humor.
Yes.
Everyone, I think, believes they have critical thinking skills. But if your critical thinking skills brings you to a company has to provide a cat bathroom, you don't have good critical thinking skills. Like,
No, and
write this down.
the fact that you even typed that out and then hit send. I mean, I don't know how to have that conversation with you because this is just, we're off the
Right.
fucking rails.
That's right. You have not come to the correct conclusions. And so
No.
like this is where Democrats and Republicans have so I shouldn't say that. I should say where MAGA and non-MAGA have
Yeah.
such differing and cannot get will never get to the same page. They both think they're the critical thinkers. They
Mm-hmm.
both think that they're the smartest in the room. They
Mm-hmm.
both think they're coming to the right conclusions, right? Like we all do. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you think DEI means this thing, and that's where you're starting from,
Yeah.
that's why we can never get on the same page ever.
No.
We'll never get there. And
Mm-mm.
it's not until you actually like don't get hired because you're a woman that you're going to be like, oh my God, I don't, what DEI? That's important. You can't fire me because I'm a woman. That's
Right.
against the law. Well, no, we took out all DEI stuff. So
Mhm.
actually now we can.
Right.
It's not until it happens to them that they're like, oh,
That it
fuck.
ever matters. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. This is what absolutely drives
I would
me
have loved it
absolutely
if
insane
somebody
with
would
the
have
MAGA.
responded to her and said, did this happen at your employer?
So someone did, and she swears it happens. And I'm like, I don't believe you. And
Well, I
everyone
can
on there is
swear a
like,
lot of things. It doesn't make it true.
nobody believes you.
Yeah.
Nobody believes you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Jesus.
I know. Okay. Other news topics.
Yeah.
El Capitan.
Yes.
The flag is being flown
The
upside
distress
down.
symbol.
A
Yes.
distress flag has flown at El Capitan. And I'll say that I am hearing this in multiple national parks around the country.
Yeah, it started in Yosemite, but yeah, I think it's,
That's
I
right.
think,
But I'm hearing like
yeah.
just it's going to be a shit show this summer.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yes.
we have a scheduled visit to Grand Canyon in March. So I'll be able to report back on did it
Yeah.
make a difference or not.
Yeah.
But people don't understand what park rangers really are there to do
Mm-hmm.
and how important park rangers are for protecting our national parks, ensuring that
Yeah.
they stay nice, ensuring that people are safe while they're there.
And the
Like,
amount of
and
money that it brings in to the communities that those national parks are around.
that's right. And so if we are desperately short of national park rangers and staff at these national parks, like our national parks are fucked.
No, they'll close. Well,
Yeah, they'll have to close.
and so this is where my head goes with it, is the extreme end of it where cats are needing litter boxes in workplaces. Is that, is this a way to be like, oh, well, there's natural resources in this national park that we as a government could utilize. So we're just
Of
going to close the
course.
national park down anyway. And we're going to start drill baby drill in a
Of
fucking national
course.
park. Yeah.
Of course. I feel like
Teddy
this is the
Roosevelt
opportunity.
rolling in his fucking grave.
That's right. That's right. I am positive this is an opportunity for us to exploit these national parks for our
Yeah.
own gains.
Yeah.
Because you know as well as I do that there's been plenty of land that has been protected in national park status.
Yeah.
And 100% I believe that this will allow our government to exploit wherever they want to. Which, how goddamn depressing is that, right?
Yeah. Because I haven't been to very many. I still have a shitload of them on my list and I haven't even been to very many.
Well,
And now
you
it's
should
fucked.
you got to start planning those trips now because yeah, you maybe only have a summer left.
Yes. But shout out to the park rangers at Yosemite.
I know. Shout out. Also, I don't know how many of you are on Alt Park Nation.
Ah, yes.
I know you are,
Yeah.
but the Alternative National Park Service. If any of you are interested, the Alternative National Park Service has been amazing at
Yeah.
information and
I
how
started following them
quick.
the first time around.
Us too. Me too.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been following them since the first time around, but their numbers have like just
Skyrocketed. I love it.
blown up. But for any of you that want to keep up and are interested in just watching, they are a fabulous resource to watch. So anyway,
Yeah.
FYI. Uh okay. Next.
Yeah.
RFK Jr.
Oh,
You said had been
yeah.
in the office 6 days and
7 days. And let me see if I can find it again. Hold on. Well, because I found this out because I was digging into the measles outbreak in Texas
oh yeah.
that's going on. But yes, he was sworn in on the 13th and on the 20th, notified the CDC that they were to immediately end their campaign promoting the flu vaccine.
I love this. I love this
Yeah.
journey for us.
The vaccine campaign was called Wild to Mild, and it sought to encourage people to get the flu vaccine. They used, I think, like zoo animals and different things like that to like, I don't know. But it says, in particular, the campaign aimed to communicate that flu vaccination can lessen symptoms and the chance of getting severely ill, even if it doesn't prevent you from catching the flu. But the Trump administration's decision to pull the campaign comes in the midst of a brutal flu season that is still raging. More than 50,000 patients were admitted to hospitals for the flu during the week ending February 8th, the highest level in 15 years. Paid media for the ad campaign was ending on last Wednesday, according to one of the current CDC staff members who spoke to NPR.
So I will tell you. So I heard that I guess Joe Rogan told Woody Harrelson over the weekend that Robert Kennedy, RFK, believes that his voice disease was caused by his reaction to the flu vaccine.
But
And
he's not the
that
only one in their family that has it.
and so like, and of course, Woody Harrelson's like, are you kidding? That absolutely is batshit crazy. And yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like the fact that RFK is just like making this shit up is absolutely astounding to me.
Yeah.
And the fact is, so I'll tell you, for me this year, I take my flu vaccine every fucking year,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone around me got sick. I mean, but of course I make my husband and my child get their flu vaccine. We saw friends that were sick. We saw family members that were sick. Like we had some family members that were out for weeks. Nobody in this house got sick. Not a one of us.
Yeah.
I do not understand these people that don't get their flu vaccines. And the
Yeah.
idea that we're not going to tell people to go get their flu vaccines. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, it's interesting because, and I bring up the measles thing, because it's fucking bananas. Although I had to do some research because I didn't realize it started in a close-knit community of undervaccinated Mennonite folks they don't do vaccines. You know what I mean? But that's where it started, and then it spread.
Yeah.
But so 2 things on that. One, I had no idea how contagious measles really are. I was watching one of my Sunday news programs yesterday. There was a woke doctor on this news program on Sunday who said that because it's spread through the air. So it is so contagious that if you have one person that is sick with measles and you put them in a room with 10 other people, 9 of those 10 people will be infected and they will get it because it's so fucking contagious, which is why they came up with a vaccine. But the argument that I've had with people in my life over why don't I need to get the measles vaccine more often versus I'm supposed to get the flu every year and now I'm supposed to get the COVID. And I've had to explain to them multiple fucking times to the point now that I just don't fucking explain it because you're refusing to retain it. Because the measles doesn't replicate. Is that the right word? It doesn't change. The flu changes every fucking year. So
every year.
The strain that we get vaccinated for this year is not going to be the strain next year. And COVID's the same way.
Well, that's right. Because they even say, like with the flu, they do their best to anticipate what strains of flu are going to be there that year and vaccinate you accordingly. But they say, and this is part of the reason why they say we can reduce symptoms, but we can't always prevent sickness because they might have only addressed one type of the flu. And so, like you said, it changes all the time.
And your body, when you get that vaccine, your body,
does its best to create
the white blood cells and all this stuff. Yeah. But then when the illness is presented in your body, if it's not the same, it doesn't react to it like it did to the vaccine, where measles doesn't replicate. It's measles is measles. And so that's why you only need the shot, once or twice in childhood and you're pretty much good for life. So I just don't understand. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. I thought he maybe would be in his position longer than 7 days before he started telling the CDC to stop campaigning.
Like I thought he would go after other things that are like FDA, and like this shows me that RFK is one of those people that really actually is drinking the Kool-Aid, is not just selling his soul for power, but he is drinking all the Kool-Aid.
He believes that the vaccines cause autism. He believes all the fringe crazy shit that science has proven is not true. And that's why he's dangerous to have him in the position that he's in.
That's exactly right. Okay. The last thing that you and I had talked about maybe talking through on this podcast, and we're getting close to the end, so I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah. Okay.
CPAC.
Oh, yeah. The chainsaw for democracy.
I had not seen the picture of Elon Musk wielding his chainsaw.
Yeah,
so before we got on this podcast, Nicole had to have me Google CPAC, Elon Musk, and chainsaw. If you have not, do yourself a favor. The images are insanity.
Yes.
Like, it's kind of crazy. And at this CPAC convention, Steve Bannon gives another Nazi salute. So we are right out in the open with our, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we're not hiding it anymore.
No, we're not hiding it.
Yeah, there's no reason for that.
Never.
Yeah.
No,
although he said when called on it, he was like, I was just waving. To who? With your arm like that?
That's not how you wave.
Because you didn't even move your hand. Like you kept it.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of us like a wave is real clear.
Yes.
A wave is real clear.
And you only waved to one side of the room? Okay.
Yeah. Right. Don't do that with your right hand, maybe. Do it with your other hand if you want to.
I don't know. I just, again, this is where I'm like, you're a fucking liar.
I know.
Because I know what I saw. Right. And I know what a fucking Nazi salute is.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Sorry. That is exactly right.
Yeah.
That is 1000% correct. All right. That's all I have on my list. Anything else on your list that you wanted to talk through today?
I mean, there's some stuff, but nothing that we can't talk about next time. Maybe next time we'll know what's going to happen with the AP lawsuit against the Trump administration for violating their First and Fifth Amendments.
So I forgot, I did have that on my list as well, that Justice Department lawyers are arguing that access to the president is a right and or is a privilege, not a right.
Yeah.
Love that. Like freedom of press right out the fucking window. Access to the and I read that the federal judge ruled that they can continue the ban, but he will speed up the actual lawsuit trial.
Yeah.
Don't love that. I fucking hate that. At what point does the AP just say, okay, fine, we'll call it the Gulf of America, previously known as the Gulf of, or known worldwide as the Gulf of Mexico? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when are they going to come up with some clever way to get around this so that they can come back into the room? I do think that this is a big, it's a big, this will solidify if it goes to the Supreme Court, which I think it will definitely solidify where the Supreme Court stands in
and what they're going to do.
Yeah. In Constitution versus Trump, because I think this is going to be that first big major case. That's going to be like Constitution versus Trump. And it'll be really interesting to see how the Supreme Court reacts to all of this.
Well, and it's also very similar to like Ed Martin, who's the acting U.S. attorney in D.C., has opened investigations into public statements made by Senator Schumer and Congressman Garcia. Again, because of comments that they made against Trump. And they aren't necessarily recent comments. So he's going after them to try to, he's saying that they could
make them look bad.
He's saying they could constitute a threat to the Supreme Court justices and DOGE.
Yep.
So, he's alleging that when Senator Charles Schumer led a rally to attack U.S. Supreme Court justices, he reading from notes in his hand. I don't know. It's just like, this is where it starts, right? Like when you start targeting, because they're the only ones allowed to have free speech and to have freedom from repercussions for said free speech.
Well, and this is the fear that we've had for years. I mean, this is what our founding fathers feared, was the idea of a government run by one particular party only. This is what happens. We can modify that to do all sorts of things. So anyway.
Yes.
So that's terrifying. So you're right. I think they've sped up the case to where it's actually going to be at the end of March. So I'm hoping by the time we get back from the Grand Canyon that we will have an answer on the AP. But again, I think it'll be really interesting to be honest, I don't think we're going to have an answer by the end of March. I think it's going to get kicked again to the Supreme Court, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that you want to talk about?
No. We can do our happy ending.
Okay. So we've decided that the name of our segment where we share one happy story is going to be called The Happy Ending. So Nicole, give us our happy ending for the week.
Okay, our happy ending today is environmental progress, because you can't get much more woke than the environment.
Indeed.
So researchers at a university in Sweden that I'm not even going to try to say the name of because I will butcher the shit out of it. It's IKEA. I don't fucking know. But in Sweden, developed a sustainable method to fully recycle solar cells using water instead of toxic solvents. The breakthrough allows the recycled cells to retain their original efficiency, addressing both environmental and technological concerns.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, that's good. I mean,
and we were woke enough that in our last house we had solar panels. Now.
Yeah,
that's right. I would get them in this house as well, but we don't face the appropriately that we could get them.
Yeah,
but my next house will definitely have them for sure.
Also in Taiwan and China, they've celebrated the Lantern Festival in the last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So,
there's our happy ending.
Me satisfied with my happy ending. Thank you.
I'm glad.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did not, feel free to leave a dislike. But again, please leave a comment because we would
Yeah, we
just
want to
love to,
know. Yeah,
you're
like
right,
what is it?
hear everybody's opinions.
Yeah.
Also, please feel free to like, subscribe to the channel. Again, comment if you would like to. Even if you like the episode, feel free to
Yeah.
comment. We still only have the one little comment on one little video. So if anyone wants to comment, I'm not going to be sad about it. Also, if there's any suggestions that you guys have, again, you guys are welcome to comment those below as well. Yep, that's all I have. All right,
Okay.
everyone, have a good night.
That's
Try and
right.
stay strong.
On to another week.
Resist.
Do not get weary. It's hard. I mean, there were times this past week I was just like, I can't even read this email, and I just deleted
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
you can't, don't let it get you down because that's the only way, that's how they win.
That's how they win. That's right. Don't let the man get you down.
That's exactly right.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.